Good morning. It's rather cold this morning and a little bit foggy, although I think it'll burn off. The sun is right there and it's starting to ease away at that fog that's hanging around the place because I brought a cabriolet. This is an Audi A3 Cabriolet. And it's a very important car for Audi because we sell quite a few convertibles in this country. But the A3 is actually a very important car in general because it's the first small saloon. So it's smaller than an A4, bigger than an A1. It's kind of in between the two. But it comes in saloon, which is the nicest shape of it, the A3. The hatchback, I think the 5-door hatchback looks a little bit kind of weird in places. But the saloon, that looks gorgeous. And in convertible, it looks even better. But all is not absolutely perfect in the world of Audi with this cabriolet, and it's down to the engine. This is diesel powered. Now ordinarily I wouldn't be thinking much about diesel as to whether it's a problem or not. You know, diesel is diesel, it's good, it's economical, it's clean these days. But the problem is that it doesn't suit a convertible. You want a burbly noise and what you're getting is a sort of a diesel rattle. Now it's not particularly cold this morning, so I'm not too worried about having the roof up or down. It's really all the one, isn't it? Driving a convertible is kind of a state of mind really, and this is a DSG box as well, which means when you pull up to junctions like this, when you hold the brake, the engine shuts down. Quiet, it's all gone quiet again. But nonetheless, let's be careful, I'll be gingerly here pulling out this one. And it's nice, it's quick. It's responsive, it does a job. It's actually got a sport mode as well if you want. You go into D4, D5 or S4, S5, which makes it a little bit quicker. Now I do appreciate a convertible. I love driving a convertible. There's something about being in the open air, having the sky as your roof and putting along. And this actually has a couple of natty features. One is heated seats, but it also has an air scarf. So when you put on this, you get some warm air blowing out of a vent behind your neck, which keeps you warm when you're driving along. It's a lovely feature, it really is. Especially on a chilly morning like this. It's 8.5 degrees out. The air is damp. It feels a little damp outside. And there's a bit of a mist and fog around. There's actually been a couple of crashes this morning as well. That's okay. It'd be better if people just slow it down a bit. The air scarf is lovely, it's just blowing air onto the back of my neck right now and the heated seats are on, which is keeping me warm too. And plus the ventilation is on inside in the car, so I don't really mind too much about the cold out there. The noise behind my head is another thing entirely, which is the noise of the actual air vent behind my head blowing air in the back. As a convertible, it's a 4-seat. You can actually put people in the back seat and actually put things in the boot as well. It's not that there's a lot of room, the roof takes up a good chunk of that. There's actually a fair bit of space under the floor because there isn't a spare. So the floor is quite deep. The car itself is very comfortable, it's very nice to put along in. I quite enjoy the experience of driving in it. But the problem is that noise, that sound underneath the engine. It really needs a petrol engine, something that's quiet and tasty, maybe a little bit burbly in places too, because the one thing about being in the convertible is you hear everything. You hear the birds singing, you hear the breeze blowing through trees, you hear other cars, you hear lots of things happening around you. And that's the point. If you hear it all, you're going to hear that diesel engine the whole time too. Plus, the big problem with convertibles has always been scuttle shake. Allow me to explain what scuttle shake is. So basically, the roof of your car is part of the structural integrity of the whole car. So this bit here is connected to the back of the car, by the roof, okay? Now what happens is, when you remove this bit, you've got a problem. You've got a problem in that the chassis underneath is now carrying all the load of actually driving the car. So it's actually flexing as it goes along the road. Now to combat that, now it also means in a crash test that energy is not dissipated down the roof where it would normally be in most cars. The problem you have then is that you have to strengthen the floor, and so what they have to do is put rather large girders along the bottom of the car, allowing the chassis to be a bit stronger at the bottom to carry more of the kind of weight of turning in corners. Now Audi's done a bloody good job here. You can very rarely feel the scuttle shake as you're driving along, but it is still there. And that's the problem, the nature of driving in a convertible. In that when the roof is down, you start to feel more vibration, and you might even see it in my camera as well, more vibration as you drive along the road. Not a big deal, most people say, but you know, at the same time, it can become annoying. On a warm summer's day, there's absolutely nothing like a convertible. When it's 8 degrees out and it's early morning, well, it is a little bit chilly in here. So what we do is we pull over up the road here, and I'll put the roof back up, and you can see the difference between driving with no roof or driving with a roof on. Remember that this is a cloth roof. This doesn't have insulation between you and the outside world. It's a cloth with a little bit of kind of quilting in between the two, which allows you to be able to continue on your journey in a little bit more warmth. So there's a little town here, I'm going to pull up. The town is called Ballybrittis. Ballybrittis. It's on the way to Dublin. So we pull up here. Okay. Here's the roof coming up. It's not the fastest thing I've ever been in, but it is quite nice. It looks like you're playing Jenga. And you get a little beep. Air scarf calms down a little bit, and the air conditioning comes back on. Then you have your roof up, which is quite nice. It's cozy again. So that in essence is the Audi A3 from start to finish, the convertible version. It is a little bit of a fashionista sort of thing. It is a kind of a fashionable thing to be in. It is undoubtedly gorgeous to look at from every possible angle. But it does come, of course, with compromise. As soon as you take that roof off, there is always going to be a compromise. But there isn't probably a better country in Europe to have a convertible in. So maybe you should have a little convertible in your life. Get your top off and have a look around and see what you think of the Audi A3 convertible. This is Bob Flavin for Independent.ie.